I'd like to show you a demo of the provisioning interface. If you have questions, though, I can answer those as well, since we're short on time.
Most cloud storage you hear is for object storage and not running VMs. So you're one of the few that I've seen that are actually have the ability to run the VMs in the background.
Oh, sure. Yep. The system is basically a translation between object and block. And there's a set of technical problems that have to get solved to do that, but that's basically what we've done.
So what's the secret sauce?
Oh, well,
Pixie dust. There we go.
Bacon.
Bacon fixes
Everything's better with bacon.
Powered on bacon.
Bacon, yes, bacon.
Or bourbon.
Extra bacon. So this is our management console, and we usually, you saw the My Storage view. When a customer logs in, that's the first thing they see is that My Storage view, which is the map and the pictogram of the system status. When they drill down into any one of the individual edges, what they see is this. This is sort of a dashboard that is intended to show you how healthy or not your system is. When you think about a typical storage user interface, one of the things everyone keeps thinking of, like, well, where are the disks? Are we supposed to be managing individual disks? So we don't do that. Because we remotely manage everything, we have our own private network to manage the hardware. What the customer sees is really everything about workloads, and it's really all about the performance of the workloads and the performance of the overall network that we're trying to convey here. So we're a little bit different, and in particular, note the two boxes on the top left, middle, and then the middle top. They are together sort of like the overall dashboard of how the thing is working. If you look at the funnel, what you see there in this particular instance is you have 2 terabytes of flash that's representing 6.3 terabytes of total logical LBA space. What you're seeing in the middle is that with this set of workloads that we have here, it's about a 98% hit rate. On average, you don't always see it being this high. It fluctuates between mid 80s all the way up to sometimes it's 100%. The workloads actually vary in behavior, and so there's whatever it does in one particular moment is not indicative of what it's going to be over the long term. But we also break things out according to workload. So you can actually see all sorts of really interesting, IOPS measurements along on a workload by workload basis, and we also have a heat map that is capacity based. So you get to see how much of your capacity is allocated to performance versus how much of your capacity is allocated to stuff that doesn't touch storage. And so all of these are part of the dashboard. We have eventing and alerting. So if you want to take a look at that. Actually, if you could just go down the
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Our event monitoring is actually in another pictogram. So events tend to cluster in time. So we actually we have a two-dimensional graph, so you can actually see when things happen pictorially rather than trying to scan a long list of events. Provisioning is actually super easy as well. So if you want to provision a volume, you just go right to the volumes here. Creating a volume is really a two-step process. You basically give it a name and allocate capacity for it. And then you just either assign it to a host or cluster. Because we're integrated with VMware, we actually pull all the vCenter host names and host configurations out of vCenter as well as the cluster configuration. So you can actually just assign to an existing known cluster and you'd be off. And our host integration tool actually does the full journey all the way around. So it's just a two-step process to provision that. Snapshots are also very easy. It's the same kind of thing. So if you want to snapshot that line, you basically just create a snapshot. Our LUNs are up to 64 terabytes in size, so not tiny at all, and they're fully thin provisioned. So everything in this world is thin provisioned, which is one of the another benefit that we have.
Hard to fat provision and dedupe at the same time.
Yes, exactly. One of the, because it's a pay-as-you-go service, we don't actually bill you for capacity provisioned. We actually bill you for capacity used. So you can go ahead and create 64 terabyte LUNs all you want. It won't cost you anything until you fill them. And doing something like a clone of a LUN doesn't actually do a full copy either, so you don't get billed for that as well. So it's actually unique data created that we actually bill you for in the system. And so these are very, very very flexible snapshotting capabilities. They're non-invasive, non-destructive. You can just keep taking snapshots of snapshots, arbitrarily deep trees, and it maps really, really nicely to vvols, which is sort of an arbitrarily deep tree. So the way people build VMs is really fundamentally you build one, you run it for a while, you snapshot it, you patch it, you run it for a while, you clone it like 15 times maybe. So we have these arbitrarily deep snapshot trees that you can build with this system, and it maps exactly to vvols, which is one of the reasons why we did vvol support right up front. I think we're almost out of time, so we have 27 seconds for questions.
Number of snapshots before degradation or performance hit?
We have not been able to find a degradation yet.
Nice.
So it is. It's just a metadata copy, so it's a very, very lightweight operation.
Very good.
I think as a rule of thumb, if a system dedupes, snapshots end up being very low cost.